...2017 was an awesome year for movies. So awesome that I decided to get off my lazy ass and finally make a video for this channel again, because I haven't done that in a long time. So without further ado, here's number 15? Yeah. Spider-Man Homecoming wasn't as good as the first two Tobey Maguire movies, but it was easily the best since Spider-Man 2. I really loved Tom Holland in this as Peter Parker and Spider-Man, and I loved Michael Keaton as the Vulture. The style of this movie, the high school setting, I don't know, I really like the new direction that they took with the Spider-Man movies. I think it works really well, and it's really different from the others. Number 14 is It. I'm not a big fan of horror movies, but I freaking loved this movie. I was entertained the whole way through. I was laughing a lot, I was scared a lot. The losers, their chemistry was just perfect. I love Finn Wolfhard, man. Stranger Things fan over here. He's great. Everybody is great in this movie. Bill Skarsgård as Pennywise. Oh, hey there, Georgie. Man, he was freaky as hell. Not as good as Tim Curry, I don't think. He was a little bit funnier, but I really enjoyed his performance. Oh, you like popcorn? Oh, that's my favorite too. Pop, 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 pop. Number 13 is Get Out. Jordan Peele's directorial debut is intense as it is funny and really insightful. The social commentary is really well handled because it never gets in the way of the story being told. But when you walk out of the movie, you feel like you've learned something about society, and I can't say that for a lot of movies, so I really appreciated that. Number 12 is Wonder Woman. I was really surprised by how much I liked this movie, because I like the DC EU, but I'd be lying if I said that I haven't been disappointed with a lot of the movies that have come out, including Justice League. Gal Gadot and Chris Pine really make this movie, along with Patty Jenkins, because she directs the shit out of it and gives us some amazing superhero action, along with a romance that was actually really compelling, so that was awesome. Number 11 is Star Wars: The Last Jedi. Yeah, I'm a Star Wars fan, I'm a sucker for it. I love this world, these characters, and all the great sci-fi action that comes with it. And this movie took an interesting new direction, visually speaking, tonally speaking, and I don't know, I just really enjoyed the way Rian Johnson handled this movie. I know some people haven't so much, and I do have my flaws with this movie. Casino scene, but, you know, I have flaws with the other Star Wars movies too, you know, Return of the Jedi, Revenge of the Sith, Rogue One. So, you know, whatever. I really loved watching this movie. I was entertained the whole way through. I like the emotional stakes in the movie, and I think it's going to go down as one of the better Star Wars movies. Now, what the hell is this? Picking another sci-fi action movie over Star Wars? Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, because it was just a better movie. Volume 2 does everything Volume 1 does, about as good. I think James Gunn just has a very consistent direction with this series that I really appreciate. Awesome music, hilarious scenes, great action, lovable characters that are expanded upon. The one thing this movie did do better was the villain, with Kurt Russell's Ego the Living Planet. Aside from that, I think the first movie might have had some better action, but aside from that, I mean, I could just watch these two back to back and love them both equally. Number 9 is Split. James McAvoy. That is all. Oh, and welcome back to Making Good Movies, M. Night Shyamalama Ding Dong. Number 8 is John Wick Chapter 2. I'm a sucker for action movies, especially action movies with a lot of hand-to-hand combat, and this movie just so happens to have some of the best hand-to-hand combat and gunplay in any action movie ever. Plus, dude, Keanu Reeves, fuck yeah. I'm so glad that the directors of this movie are doing Deadpool 2. I think we're gonna get some really cool action scenes in that movie, but as it stands for now, this is kind of the same with Guardians of the Galaxy. I like this about as much as the first John Wick. Oh, I didn't show it because you give a shit. No, you don't. Anyways, I'm going to keep holding them up anyway because the next one on my list is War for the Planet of the Apes. This concluded the trilogy with a freaking bang. That was dramatic. Seriously though, Andy Serkis in this movie as Caesar is phenomenal. I swear though, like when I'm watching this, I don't even see like CGI apes. I see actors. No, I just see characters because I'm so invested in them. Caesar and Maurice, they're just so great. I love following them. And this is a really surprisingly emotional movie, but it's also exciting as hell. The war title, it's a little misleading because there isn't really like a big war throughout the movie. It's more of like a personal war, but man, this isn't my favorite of the Apes trilogy, but I freaking love this movie. Now speaking of great special effects, I want to talk more about a movie that had some amazing practical effects, because practical effects make you really feel like you're in the movie, and no movie did that better this year than Dunkirk, because it is just an hour and a half of nonstop intensity. It just throws you into the movie, and it's like you're experiencing what these characters are experiencing. Like you're on the journey with them. And some people might not like that because you don't get a lot of time to like know the characters and everything, but I was okay with it. It was more about the event, and it was a very different war movie. I swear though, every time a freaking airplane came in, like I would freak out. I was like, oh shit. Like, just lots of tension, lots of excitement. Really love this. Number 5 is Logan. Back in 2003, my parents took me on a double feature to see Hulk, which we are not going to talk about because and X-Men 2, X-Men United. And since then, Wolverine has been one of my childhood heroes, and this movie, holy shit, was in an emotional journey. My goodness, I was drained by the end of this movie because I was just like, oh man, my childhood. But Hugh Jackman gives his best performance as Wolverine here. James Mangold gives this movie a cool Western style that I thought just fit perfectly for this film. It's one of the best comic book movies ever made. Seriously. Loved every minute of this movie. However, I can't watch it as often as some of the other movies on this list just because it's a very depressing movie. But that's not a bad thing. I actually kind of like that because each viewing is an experience in its own right. It's not just one I'm going to watch over and over again. But one movie I am going to watch over and over again because it's just so much freaking fun is Thor Ragnarok. Now, you could switch this and Logan because I like them about the same, but for very different reasons. Thor is just so much fun. This is easily the most fun MCU movie. Not the best, but so much just laughter and adrenaline-fueled action and kick-ass music, much like Guardians of the Galaxy, except this movie only has one song, unlike Guardians, which has a track list of awesome songs that I didn't mention before. I love the soundtrack to that movie. Immigrant Song by Led Zeppelin is a kick-ass song. It fits with Thor perfectly, and I love the exploration of the worlds in this movie. It's straight up Jack Kirby comics. Seriously, it's awesome. I love it so much as a Marvel comic book fan. Anyway, what's new with you? Oh, I'm just sitting up here thinking, about what? Say, you think The Disaster Artist is a good movie? Fuck yeah, it is. James Franco did an amazing job as Tommy Wiseau. Seriously, Oscar worthy. And he directed this movie too, and he did a phenomenal job with it. The Disaster Artist just so happens to be my favorite book of all time because it's just a love letter to actors, and it really shows the struggle of, living in LA and trying to be an actor. And it's just a really heartfelt story, and it's freaking hilarious. And this movie got the comedy down as much as it got the heart of the story. Dave Franco does great as Greg Sestero. And they really captured what made the book so great while also containing it to just a 2-hour movie. Next 2 movies are my 2 favorites of the year, and I can't really say which one I like more. But the first one I'll talk about, yeah, I know this is getting really repetitive and it's really pointless, but Baby Driver is one of the most unique movies I've ever seen. Despite the fact that it has some story similarities to Drive, this is such a unique experience. Just the editing and the music and how it's all incorporated together, and just the character of Baby, played by Ansel Elgort, he's phenomenal. He's such a different lead character, and I loved it. The driving scenes and the stunts are just phenomenal. Not just the driving stunts either, just the way everything's put together. It's just such a well-constructed movie. Take notes if you're trying to be a filmmaker. This is a must-watch, I think. And number 1 is also a must-watch, of course, obviously. But this is a movie that reminded me why I started going to the movies as often as I did, why I developed a passion for filmmaking. And that movie is Blade Runner 2049. As much as I loved the first Blade Runner, I have to say, I think I like this movie a little bit more. Yes, it's a long movie. Yes, it moves slower. But guess what? That's what I like about it. I like a movie that just takes its time to flesh out its story, its world, its characters, everything. This movie does that in spades. It expands upon the first movie, but you don't have to see the first movie to appreciate this because on its own, it's great. The themes about humanity, what it means to be human, and about just having a purpose in life, it's all handled so effectively. And this is actually kind of an emotional experience. And it's also just an interesting mystery thriller. And my god, the visuals, the music, the direction, it's perfect, man. I love everything about this movie. Harrison Ford did amazing. Just watch this movie. Seriously. If I had to give a few honorable mentions, I would say just Power Rangers. Not because it was, this amazing movie or anything, but because, I loved Power Rangers growing up, and I appreciated the loving care that went into making the movie. So I just want to say that, I appreciated that. I know it sounds funny, but I just can't stand the pain. Girl, I'm leaving you tomorrow.